Good afternoon. This is All India Radio and I am Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Eastern Economic Forum's plenary session kicks off at Vladivostok, Russia. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announces $1 billion line of credit for development of Far East Russia. India and Japan call for secure and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. Extradition of controversial Islamic preacher Zakir Naik taken up by Prime Minister Modi with his Malaysian counterpart on the sidelines of EEF. Supreme Court refuses anticipatory bail to P. Chidambaram in Ionics media case. President Ram Nath Kovind felicitates winners of National Teachers Award on Teachers' Day. And Bianca Andreescu of Canada becomes the first team to reach US Open semi-finals in a decade. India has made a landmark announcement of a line of credit worth $1 billion for the development of Far East region of Russia. Prime Minister, while addressing the plenary session of the 5th Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok today, said that India has actively engaged East Asia as part of its Act East policy.
फार ईस्ट के विकास में और योगदान देने के लिए भारत $1 बिलियन की लाइन ऑफ क्रेडिट देगा। यह पहला मौका है कि हम किसी देश के क्षेत्र विशेष को लाइन ऑफ क्रेडिट दे रहे हैं। मेरी सरकार की एक्ट ईस्ट पॉलिसी ने ईस्ट एशिया को एक्टिवली एंगेज किया है।
Today's announcement will prove to be a take-off point for Act Far East. Mr. Modi said this will also give a new dimension to our economic diplomacy. He also highlighted his vision of New India on the mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. He said India is aiming to be a $5 trillion economy by 2024. The Prime Minister said Eastern Economic Forum will not only strengthen the efforts for human welfare in Far East, but also the entire mankind. He said the relation of India and Far East is not new but ages old. India is the first country which opened its consulate in Vladivostok. Mr. Modi said India is a proud and active participant in various activities of the Eastern Economic Forum from top levels of government and industry.
मैंने और राष्ट्रपति पुतिन ने भारत रूस सहयोग के लिए एम्बिशियस टारगेट रखे। हमारे संबंधों में हमने नए आयाम जोड़े हैं, उनको विविधता दी है। संबंधों को सरकारी दायरे से बाहर लाकर के प्राइवेट इंडस्ट्री के बीच ठोस सहयोग तक पहुंचाया है। हमने हर क्षेत्र में सहयोग को अपनी स्पेशल एंड प्रिविलेज स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के सांचे में बढ़ाया है, ढाला है।
More from a correspondent.
The Eastern Economic Forum is emerging as multilateral platform for trade and investment cooperation. As chief guest in EEF, India has showcased the plethora of opportunities for not only businessmen of Russia but also the businessmen back home. The platform is also giving opportunities for attracting FDI from Russia and other countries present here. An Indian pavilion here demonstrated such capacity. Lots of resources here are unexplored, which makes this region an attractive destination for investors. With Sanjeev Kumar Singh, Suprashanti for AIR News, Vladivostok, Russia.
On the sidelines of the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok this morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a bilateral meeting with his Japanese counterpart Shinzo Abe. During the meeting, both leaders shared similar views on Indo-Pacific region. Briefing media, Foreign Secretary Vijay Gokhale said both the countries have called for a free and open Indo-Pacific region to make it secure and prosperous.
There was also discussion on the Indo-Pacific. This is an issue on which India and Japan share similar views. Prime Minister Abe spoke of the free and open Indo-Pacific and of the importance of bilateral cooperation in that regard, both on the economic side and in terms of people-to-people relations in order to build an Indo-Pacific region that is both secure and prosperous.
Both leaders decided to hold the first 2+2 ministerial meeting of foreign and defense ministers of both the countries ahead of the annual bilateral summit in New Delhi in December this year. They also discussed the importance of trilateral relations with African countries. They also discussed to continue the trilateral meeting of India, Japan and the US for enhancing regional cooperation.
Inevitably, discussion also took place on regional and international affairs. Both leaders gave a very positive assessment of the Japan-America-India trilateral meeting, two of which have been held in the margins of the G20 in Buenos Aires and Osaka. It was a very positive evaluation by both leaders, and they felt that this tradition of having a summit meeting between the three countries should continue.
Prime Minister Modi met Malaysian Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir bin Mohamad and discussed trade matters between the two countries. The Malaysian Prime Minister assured to balance the trade by importing more goods and services from India. Foreign Secretary Vijay Gokhale informed that the Prime Minister has raised the issue of extradition of Zakir Naik and asserted that Indian officials will continue to hold deliberations with Malaysia in this regard.
जहां तक जाकिर नाइक की बात है, जी हां, प्रधानमंत्री ने इस बात को उठाई है और हम दोनों पक्ष ने ये तय किया है कि हमारे अधिकारी इस पे संपर्क बनाए रखेंगे और हमारे लिए महत्वपूर्ण विषय है.
Mr. Modi will also hold talks with Mongolian President Khaltmagin Battulaga, who is scheduled to visit India this month. They discussed about India's assistance in the ongoing oil refinery project in Mongolia and people-to-people contact. The Prime Minister arrived in Vladivostok yesterday on a two-day visit to Russia. Mr. Modi held a comprehensive talks with Mr. Putin at the India-Russia 20th Annual Summit in Vladivostok yesterday. Addressing a joint press meet with Mr. Putin after the talks, Mr. Modi said the talks were aimed at finding new horizons of India-Russia cooperation. Mr. Modi said India and Russia are against outside influence in the internal matters of any nation. Russia also backed India's move on Jammu and Kashmir, saying that the changes in the status are within the framework of the Indian Constitution. The countries also signed 15 agreements in different areas, including defence and maritime connectivity. This is All India Radio, giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. The Supreme Court today refused to grant anticipatory bail to P. Chidambaram in the Ionics media money-laundering case lodged by the Enforcement Directorate. The top court dismissed Chidambaram's plea challenging the Delhi High Court verdict, denying him anticipatory bail in the case. Court said that anticipatory bail cannot be given as a matter of right of accused. A bench of Justices R. Bhanumati and A. S. Bopanna said this is not a fit case to grant anticipatory bail, saying grant of bail at this stage will hamper investigation. The Apex Court further said the investigating agency has to be given sufficient freedom to conduct probe into the case. It also rejected Chidambaram's application for direction to the ED to produce transcripts of his questioning conducted by the agency. However, the court said Chidambaram can approach the court concerned for grant of regular bail in the case. Meanwhile, the Apex Court allowed Chidambaram to withdraw his plea against non-bailable warrant and remand orders of the trial court in the Ionics media corruption case lodged by the CBI. The Supreme Court today allowed former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti's daughter to meet her in Srinagar. Ms. Mehbooba is under detention following abrogation of Article 370. A bench headed by Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi allowed Mehbooba's daughter Iltija to meet her. In a petition, Iltija had submitted that she is concerned about her mother's health. Meanwhile, the Apex Court has fixed 16 September to hear pleas of the Kashmir Times editor and others on alleged communication blockade in Jammu and Kashmir. The Apex Court today also ordered shifting of ailing CPIM leader Mohammad Yusuf Tarigami to AIIMS in Delhi from Srinagar. A bench headed by Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi said it was inclined to shift Tarigami, the former CPIM MLA, to AIIMS. CPIM leader Sitaram Yechury told the bench that he has no objection if Tarigami was shifted to AIIMS for better treatment. President Ram Nath Kovind today gave away the National Teachers Award to 46 teachers in New Delhi. The award is given to meritorious teachers on Teachers' Day to celebrate the unique contribution of teachers and to honor those teachers who have improved the quality of school education and enriched the lives of students. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Kovind said the foundation of character building is laid in schools and teachers are largely responsible for building the moral character of young minds. The President asked the teachers to understand their fundamental responsibilities and said values like honesty, discipline and integrity are instilled in young minds by the teacher. Mr. Kovind said Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan was not only a great philosopher, statesman and writer, but also an extraordinary teacher.
स्वामी विवेकानंद ने शिक्षा के लगभग सभी पक्षों पर अपने श्रेष्ठ विचार व्यक्त किए। उन्होंने शिक्षा को मानव निर्माण की प्रक्रिया के रूप में परिभाषित करते हुए कहा था कि शिक्षा का लक्ष्य मैन मेकिंग एजुकेशन होना चाहिए। डॉक्टर राधाकृष्णन कहा करते थे कि अच्छा शिक्षक वो है जो जीवन भर विद्यार्थी बना रहता है।
Our correspondent talked to some of the awardees who expressed happiness at receiving the award.
I, Gurnam Singh, Master Government Upper Primary School Ladi, John Banoti, Kathua. I motivate the community to donate the 4 canal lands for my school building. When I joined this school, there is a very small building, but now is a huge building in Banoti zone. I also motivate my students to celebrate the Independence Day and Republic Day National Festival. That our school is in hilly areas. Our Gujjar Bakarwal community did not send their girl child to school, but I visit home to home to bring that girl child, and I am successful very much.
Myself, Dr. Hannah Johnson, Principal of Government Senior Secondary School, Rangpu, East Sikkim. Since 2011, I have started one teacher, one class in primary section in order to revamp the primary education. Another thing that I have introduced is kindergarten since 2012 in order to address the dwindling enrollment in the primary section of the government school. So I have worked in 3 government schools till now. So in all the schools, this restructuring of the primary education I have done and the introduction of the private kindergarten as well. And I have established this kindergarten with the help of community participation, CSR activities and all that.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has requested teachers for active support and participation to eliminate single-use plastic. He said if teachers explain to the students the harm caused to the environment by single-use plastic and advise them to shun it, students will feel motivated to become a part of the cause. Mr. Modi said this will be a great tribute to Mahatma Gandhi on his 150th Jayanti. In his message on Teachers' Day, the Prime Minister said that teachers should focus on outcomes rather than outlays. He said today India is witnessing a paradigm shift in the education sector. He also saluted the entire teaching fraternity for the hard work, dedication and commitment.
शिक्षक कभी उम्र से बंधा नहीं होता है। शिक्षक कभी रिटायर्ड हो ही नहीं सकता। विद्यार्थी का शिक्षक के प्रति आदर, शिक्षक का शिक्षा के प्रति समर्पण और विद्यार्थी और शिक्षक के बीच में एक अपनत्व का भाव, यही एक जोड़ी होती है जो न सिर्फ ज्ञान परोसती है लेकिन जीवन जीने की कला भी सिखाती है। आज देश के सभी गुरुजनों को नमन करता हूं और सभी शिक्षकों से अपेक्षा करता हूं कि हमारा काम है पीढ़ियों को बनाना, वही देश को बढ़ाएंगे।
In Mumbai, life has started returning to normalcy with water on railway tracks receding and suburban train service on all 3 lines, Central, Harbour and Western resuming. The rains too have stopped since yesterday evening and this has brought in a lot of respite to the harried people. The Central Railway has rescheduled many long-distance trains running on the main line. Railway Minister Piyush Goyal in a tweet informed about it and said that railway officials and personnel are all working towards not causing further inconvenience to the people. A high-level team of officers from the Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region Donair is visiting Jammu and Kashmir today. The purpose of the visit is to look into new reforms and best practices that can be introduced in the region. Canadian teen Bianca Andreescu became the first teen US Open semi-finalist in a decade, defeating Belgium's Elsie Martens to set up a battle with Belinda Bencic for a spot in the final. The 15-seeded from suburban Toronto rallied past 25th seed Martens 3-6, 6-2, 6-3 to reach a clash against fellow slam semi-final debutante Bencic today. She could become the first teen to win a Grand Slam title since Maria Sharapova captured the 2006 US Open, and she would be the youngest US Open champion since Russia's Svetlana Kuznetsova in 2004. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Eastern Economic Forum's plenary session kicks off at Vladivostok, Russia. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announces $1 billion line of credit for development of Far East Russia. India and Japan call for secure and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. Extradition of controversial Islamic preacher Zakir Naik taken up by Prime Minister Modi with his Malaysian counterpart on the sidelines of EEF. Supreme Court refuses anticipatory bail to P. Chidambaram in Ionics media case. President Ram Nath Kovind felicitates winners of National Teachers Award on Teachers' Day. And Bianca Andreescu of Canada becomes the first teen to reach US Open semi-finals in a decade. And with that we end the Midday News.